JK, yeah, just keeping it real. Love, life, and relationships. Come on. Just keeping it real, y'all. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Come on. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Charles and Melendia. Are we done? Hey, what's up, family?
What's up, fam?
All right, just keeping it real with Charles and
Melendia.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, we ask before we get any further, we ask that you subscribe, we ask that you comment, like our videos, and we ask that you share them with other people.
Share.
Because again, the messages that we come up with, we want to share, and we hope that they are helpful to you.
Yeah.
And if not, please comment.
Yeah.
Let us know whether we are making an impact in your life or
Absolutely.
not.
And then we would just, our purpose is here to be able to expound out to other people everywhere. Share to your friends, share to your family. If it's some things that you want to, put out there as well, let us know, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and share to your family and friends.
But you're probably asking, who are we?
Who are we?
Yeah, well, we are relationship advocates.
What that mean?
And you're probably asking that question. It says that we simply support and we recommend the strengthening of healthy relationships. That means yours and ours.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another thing we ask, so you probably ask, our purpose. What's our purpose, babe?
It is to empower all people.
All people.
In hopes of building a
stronger world.
We need it so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we ask you to join forces with us and in building that strong family, that strong community, that strong city, state, and eventually we get to the world. We impact the world.
Yeah, because you got to start with you too. Developing a good, strong foundation in your family, in your household. The two of you, the three of you, whoever,
Right.
So,
our topic today, we want to make a disclaimer. This is a conversation that is very sensitive. This is a conversation that can be very deep. It may take your relationship or marriage to a different level.
it's pretty delicate.
And so we're asking you to please listen in. We're asking you to take the things that we share with you and to apply them as you know your spouse, your mate, as you understand them, because again, very sensitive can lead to serious issues in a relationship.
So what we're going to do, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation about temptations in a relationship. So
just let that soak in for a minute. Temptations in a relationship, and in particular in a marriage, because sometimes you may approach temptations in a relationship that a person may have without the true commitment of marriage, and being in a marriage, you may approach them in two different manners. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
And in particular, we want to talk about temptations in a marriage, because and that's where we are, and that's what we have to share.
Yeah.
And
so we just keeping it real about it.
Yes.
People act like it doesn't happen, and we've been together 43 years, maybe going on 43 years.
43.
I've known this man 43 years.
And we've been married
for almost about 36 years.
36 years, going on 36.
So somebody's to say, okay, so you've been in this relationship and y'all never been tempted by someone else?
Well,
or with someone else?
We'll come with that answer in a minute. Okay, hold on. We're coming back. We'll talk about it.
Yep, be right back.
So we're back.
Back.
This is a conversation about temptations in the relationship and or marriage. So I'm going to ask my wife, Melendia, and I want to say that I appreciate you, beautiful as you are, and as you have been, all this time. And I just want to acknowledge that. I'm going to ask you to read our definition of temptation.
Okay, before I do that, I want to tell the world how much I appreciate this man right here. He's our rock. He's our foundation. He is the one that kind of keeps me in check.
Build a brother up. Yeah. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
I appreciate
Thank you, my love.
I appreciate you.
Right, right.
You know.
And I appreciate you.
And it ain't all mushy and stuff like
No.
that. And I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I appreciate them. And sometimes we have to tell each other that.
Sure,
And
sure.
be serious about it.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So when we have conversations about that too. But this one right here is a conversation about temptations in a relationship.
So, what is temptation?
It says something that causes a strong urge or desire to have or do something, and especially something that is bad, wrong, or unwise.
So, we're going to let that soak in for a second. And then we're going to ask the question, have you ever been tempted in your marriage relationship?
I'm looking at
And I'm going to ask her the question too. Have you ever been tempted? And you talk about 30-something years you've been married, but have you been tempted in this relationship? Well,
yes.
the answer is yes.
I mean, okay. So this is the only man God gave me. Yes. And I am truly grateful for that. I am. But it ain't like I can't see. It ain't like I don't see other men out here.
Oh,
But see,
really?
the thing about it, in my temptation, there's usually something underlying to that sometimes, I think. And I believe that most of the time temptations comes when there's an issue.
Okay, you say when there's an issue.
When there's an issue. Like if when me and him are not on the same page, or we are combating and having disconnecting stuff. You know, I mean, it could be simple as balancing the checkbook, or he ticking me off about whatever, or I'm ticking him off about whatever. And then all of a sudden I go to the office and I get a great compliment by somebody I may not even thought about at one time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yay. So,
Go ahead. Okay.
and
All right.
he compliments me and may say something that I wish I would have heard from my husband. And what happens?
I don't know.
What could happen?
Yeah, I'm waiting. So I can't tell this story. I'm waiting. I'm listening to it. Go ahead.
What has happened in our
Sure.
30 plus years, you know, my mind thinks, well, dang, I wish my husband would have said that. And then I become flattered with that.
Oh.
And then you may look at the person all of a sudden and have something that, what I just say, that's wrong, bad, or unwise in that head of mine.
Okay.
So,
all right.
what about you, bro?
I'm good. You know, we talked about something a while back about missed opportunities. So you were saying something about compliments or whatever. And we talked about missing the opportunities. And sometimes, you know, as we say, I may miss the opportunity to compliment. She may as well. But one thing I want to say, yes, we both have dealt with that, as we said earlier. On a more serious note, we talk about me leaving town, you know, for a while. We talked about that during our anniversary, some of the things we had dealt with. And I came to a different state to work, and we were there, which we thought would be a short time before Melendia would be joining me. Turned out to be 3.5 hard, long years. I mean, really, seriously. And we never thought it would be that long, but it was long. So we ended up, we were meeting each other. You know, she would come to state where I was, city I was in. I would go back home to our home. We would meet halfway. So we did what it took to make it work. Now, was it hard? Absolutely, yes, it was, because we were, at the time, 4 hours away from each other, and I didn't see her every weekend. Most weekends I did. I got home to see her, but work became more stringent, you know, more demanding, and that was tough on our marriage. It was.
So I don't recommend that.
Yeah. So.
But this is about to answer the question.
So now let me finish though. Let me answer, because you asked me the question. I'm ready to tell you.
Right.
So while I was working, guess what? Got into a point where, so women at times, I've had several to offer to bring me dinner or fix me dinner. Say, I know you're not, I'm with your wife and you miss home cooked meals, but little did they know the brother can throw down. Okay, so that wasn't a temptation. So the next thing was this, when I started training a young lady, and I tell you what, I'm training her, and there we were, and then she was bending over, working there, and every time I look up, I see behind and all of that right in my face, okay? So, and that's when I went to praying, and I said, Lord, you're going to have to help a brother, because I ain't come down here for that. So, those were the temptations. I said, oh, no. I ain't come for that. I ain't trying to fall into that. So, I had to stay prayed up. A brother did.
Okay.
So, okay.
You heard it, right?
That was part of that temptation. Did I fall? Absolutely not. Did the Lord keep me? Yes, He did. Did the mind try to trick a brother? Yep. So maybe if anything, I failed in mind, because of all that sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, no, brother, can't, no, help me, Lord. So, those are the things that we're dealing with temptations. We've had that to deal with.
Yeah.
So we'll say that.
So in that, a little snippet we had about temptation, say it can be described as a trial or a situation in which you have the free will or choice to either do right or wrong. So, and don't get us wrong now, because we are not nowhere perfect.
No.
In any walk, we are trying to walk toward perfection, even in our relationships.
Yes.
So we try to keep it very clear to each other about situations and things that we deal with. Now, we totally are aware. Everybody can't do that. Everybody can't do that. And I'm going to tell you what, early in our relationship, we probably couldn't do that.
Sure.
Because we were learning. We had to get to know and learn each other. So these conversations come with growth, as well as being able to understand each other and asking God for some transparency.
And that's the thing. Coming to an area of spiritual guidance and even relying on God. I couldn't of myself do that. Right. Because guess what? If it were left up to me, all day long, as we talk about temptations, hey, I'm a brother. I see behind. I see women that's fine and nice shapes and this and that and that. Yeah, I'm gonna be real with it. Yeah, women with nice shapes and this that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And we've been honest enough with each other. I say, oh yeah, she fine. Oh, she fine. And we talk about these things.
That where we are, we close to a beach. Sometimes because it's like this.
Beach.
Let's not say that he got blinders on his eyes. I mean, we were at a beach, and girlfriend. She was looking pretty good from, and her booty was hanging out.
When was that?
And I tell you,
hey, I don't see booty. I didn't know she had a booty. No, but in reality, hey, let's be real. It happens. But the thing about it, you've got to have enough, whether wisdom, enough calmness, that you can deal, enough honesty there. Everybody can't get on that level of honesty to talk about these things. Right. Because your spouse, the person that you're with, whether they can take these things or whether whether they'll explode, whether they'll call for separation, divorce, or whatever. So you have to know who you're living with, who you're dealing with, who you're married to. You've got to know.
So we say the reality is every day in our lives.
Yes.
The reality of it is every day and is present with us. With temptations as an opportunity to pursue. So what it is an opportunity to pursue what? Our gratification of our own desires. That's kind of what the fabrication and imagination of what it sort of start focusing up in your mind. And, with that, we kind of have to face that reality and then realize that we got to do something about this.
Okay, so when we come back, we'll talk about that.
Yep.
Okay, we're back. So, in finishing up here, going to ask the question, whether we realize it or not, everyone, that means you, that means us, is likely to be influenced or harmed by temptation. Now, it's how we entertain it, whether we yield or whether we don't. So, in other words, you have to be mindful of how you either entertain or invite temptation.
Yeah.
Because if you've heard that even our Messiah fasted for 40 days, 40 nights, and it went into the wilderness to be what? Tempted. There's nothing wrong with being tempted. It's when we fall, when we yield. That's the factor. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so knowing that, we can ask the question within ourselves, mm-hmm. and not necessarily talking about sex, but have you been tempted to be unfaithful?
Okay, so unfaithful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tempted to be unfaithful.
Right. So in other words, most people do tend to relate unfaithful to sex, but it doesn't, as you said, doesn't have to go to that. It can be touching. Mm-hmm. It could be, what can we say, incorrect or wrong touching. Mm-hmm. Whether work, whether out. Mm-hmm. And a woman, I'm holding her hand. She's not my wife, mm-hmm. and we're holding hands or we're doing mm-hmm. this embracing or whatever. But I'm saying, then, yeah. And whether for some it's kissing, mm-hmm. maybe, oh no, that wasn't a lover's kiss. That was a brother-sister kiss. Hugging, yes, mm-hmm. right. Hey, girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Touching, the whole deal. Mm-hmm. So you got to think about the unfaithfulness is going several places and not just one. And we automatically a lot of times jump to the sex part.
Yeah.
So again, go ahead.
Yeah. So, when you think about things like that, there's something underneath that. Something is lacking. Mm-hmm. Something is lacking when you become entertained by the fascination of whether pleasing or entertaining or yourself, whatever, with the opposite sex or something, or something is wrong.
Well, let's just don't say opposite sex, because we know 2021 is not only that. We know that people may have issues and they may have temptations even with same-sex relationships. Mm-hmm. So you may be in a heterosexual relationship and you may be even tempted more, whether same sex. So let's be real and let's come out and go ahead and state that as well. Mm-hmm, so, mm-hmm. Okay, so we know that exists.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what we're saying is check yourself.
However, and whatever it is, your weaknesses is you've got to check yourself and evaluate yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Get some grounding of why am I entertaining myself with this? Mm-hmm. Why do I feel comfortable in wanting to do this?
Sure, right.
So,
right.
Those are the culprits of what could be causing you to feel so comfortable mm-hmm. and touching, kissing, right. holding,
sure.
conversating, mm-hmm. sexting,
right.
different things like that could wind up falling into those temptations by whatever may happen.
And with that, people can come up with all kinds of excuses. And you've heard them. Hey, why do people be unfaithful? Why do people cheat? You hear all kinds of things from, because my spouse didn't do this, because they don't wash the dishes, they don't clean the house, because guess what? They didn't take baths, they don't do, you can come up with 1,000 or 10,000 different reasons of why. And that's the thing.
But our first thing is to say check yourself.
Check yourself.
Check yourself.
Exactly.
Evaluate right. what's going on. What is really happening mm-hmm. with this relationship for me to fall into this kind of temptation? And be truthful mm-hmm. and accept it when and if it happens.
Right.
Except when I'm saying the temptation, not the falling of the temptation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing though. We it's not a funny thing, and we're not kidding around and trying to make light of it. But there could be some relationships that may have been tempted in those situations. They're in that situation, and there could be some underlying issues as to why they feel like they're falling into these temptations. Mm-hmm. But cannot have this candid conversation like we're having now
right.
with their significant mm-hmm. other.
Everybody.
Because they feel like either he or she will leave, they get hurt, mm-hmm. they get killed, or something. So they don't have that to be able to communicate.
And we've been open, you know, for years about these things because I've asked, hey, maybe I may have messed up in mind, may have thought, you know, impure thoughts, but I've never physically, you know, been involved with another woman or man in our times today. So neither. I've been faithful to my wife, and I tell her that I have. Can you say the same thing?
I can say
And that's what I asked her often. So we have the conversation there, you know. Again, so does that make us better than anybody? No,
Absolutely
no, it
not.
does not. It make us proactive in wanting to be truthful to each other for these years that we have been married. So that's the thing. And I'm asking the Lord, we have to ask, Lord, constantly keep us, you know, in that place. Help us to do according to your word, the way you desire us to in our marriage.
Yeah.
So again, you know, you mentioned being truthful. You
Yeah.
got to be truthful, and you got to accept the fact that it can happen,
Right.
and it will happen, meaning temptations, not the falling, but you have to know each other in that relationship. You
Right.
got to have a conversation. And the things about it, you got to discuss that if it comes about, how do you escape it?
Right.
How do you resist it?
Right.
How do you fight these temptations
Yeah.
when they come and when they present themselves?
Exactly. Exactly. And, you know, when we can say personally when it has happened to us, we face the reality about this temptation.
I tell you what, we'll finish this discussion on how we handle it when we come back. So we're going to take a little break. Have my wife finish that. All right.
All right.
See you.
So, to wrap up what we're talking about, you know, how we deal with those temptations. First, I had to face the reality that this is a temptation. Okay, so what I'm dealing with, this is a temptation.
So-
and why am I dealing with this temptation?
Okay, so what you're saying is that you recognize
I
that.
recognize
Okay, all right. You
I
acknowledge the fact that this is a temptation. Okay,
Yes, yes.
all right. Okay.
And then why am I dealing with this temptation? And as I said, there's something going on. Realize what's happened. What's happened? Are there issues in our relationship? Is there something going on with me?
Right.
So I need to recognize that this is standing in front of me, and I need to do something about this
Right.
in the right way.
Sure.
So let's
Okay.
mention that, and I have to talk about it.
Okay.
And
have to
like
talk
I
about it.
said, everybody can't do that. You know, everybody can't do that. So I would talk to Charles and say, hey, you know, when we left off this morning, you know, you kind of just, it wasn't cool, you know, and whatever the issue may be.
Because somebody gave me a compliment and I was about to fall apart.
Why he got to talk like that?
That was just, you know, that was my silly voice.
I wasn't about to fall apart.
You know.
I wasn't gonna fall apart. Like,
Well,
hey, okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
Anyway,
go ahead and explain the way.
the thing is just being able, but that's the thing about it. This is a very sensitive subject
Yes,
to
absolutely.
each other.
Yes.
Because you don't know how the other may react.
Yes,
Especially when
right.
you know you haven't done anything.
Yes.
But yet you want to be honest about what you were dealing with.
And excuse me, in some cases, some of you may have done something and you are afraid to even talk about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do we do in those cases?
What do you do?
We say,
Yeah.
if you can't have that conversation or you don't feel comfortable with that and you know that your whole relationship may be in jeopardy, you may want to employ, you know, a counselor, somebody to speak with.
You have to consult someone.
because
consult with
Yes.
someone.
Because we definitely believe in open and honesty in the relationship. Don't believe in holding something. If I wrong this woman, I don't believe in holding, you know, until and say she'll never know what she don't know won't hurt us. You know, I don't believe in that philosophy. I don't.
Right.
Believe in honesty, believe in open communication. So I tell you,
Right.
that's where I am. If I have any issues about it, that's just how I feel.
And like you
So,
say,
yes,
that's how we feel.
yes,
But see that everybody doesn't feel that way,
right.
and
Everybody can't
we
handle it.
totally understand that.
Yes.
Recognize that. Appreciate that.
Right.
Therefore, saying if you are someone that had to deal with something like that, you know, feel free to contact someone, console with someone. Because first of all, if you're in a relationship that seem harmful, you got to think about that too. So first, all I can say is you have to check yourself. You have to think about the consequences of my actions and how am I going to be able to talk to my mate about this. And it may be a step-by-step situation where you can get to that, but you got to start somewhere. And the first thing to start with is recognize it. Stop it.
Yes.
You know,
right.
and
Yes. So let's put a little more focus on that. So what she's saying here is that if you know that you are being tempted and you're falling in that area, that's an area you're failing at, the first thing is to stop that. Yeah. If you're wrong in something, stop it. That's it. So I said, well, it's bigger than me. I can't stop. Well, again, do what you have to do. Pray to God, get the strength you need, but that relationship must end.
if that's what you desire.
Yes.
Because you can't continue the same path and think you're going to be happy.
Right.
You know, so that's why we feel like you need to console with someone, you know, talk to someone, get some counseling. We are advocates for it, I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you what, if this is something that you even want to shoot us an email about, we'll be more than happy to research and get you some references. No problem. You know, talk to you blatantly. If you want to talk to me, you want to talk to my husband. You know, men talk to their husband. Females want to talk to me. Or we want to talk together. You know, we can talk through this thing.
And we're open. It's not that we're here or there. Like I say,
I'm not judging anybody about this situation because, as we say, we've gone through situations of temptation. You know, so we're no better than anybody else.
And
it's just
the struggle,
how you get through it.
It's real.
The struggle is real.
And in marriage relationships, it is. So, in conclusion, you've got to be honest with each other. Got to have the conversation. And you got to do and put the things in place to help you get over and not fail in these areas.
And realize it happens.
It does.
It happens in the most healthiest relationships. It happens. And for some of y'all or those that it don't happen to you, well, I applaud you. But you're rare.
Yes. And you can recover. Even if you fail. Yes, that you can. But it takes two people working together and sometimes even employing other parties in the way of professional counseling as well.
Absolutely.
So, and we always say on a spiritual basis. So, we love you.
Yes.
We continue to pray for you.
We appreciate you.
And with you. And we thank you for tuning in with us.
Yep.
And we pray our strength.
Yep. We can do this.
Yes.
All right. Keep on keeping on.
Stay prayed up.
All right. Bye.
J. Kerr, just keeping it real. Love, life, and relationships. Come on. Just keeping it real, y'all. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Come on. Just keeping it real.